this series between the Rockets and the Warriors, it will forever impact LeBron James' legacy. Because normally, the Rockets would be the favorite. And most years in the NBA, in most years in the history of the NBA, a team like the Rockets would be the favorite to win the NBA Finals. A team like the Rockets normally would be the favorite to win a championship. I mean, they had a 65-17 record. They had the best record in the Western Conference, and the Western Conference is the tougher conference. They have a superstar, Chris Paul. They have another superstar, James Harden. He is this year's MVP. You would think, of course, the Rockets are going to win it all. And normally you would feel that way, but not in 2018. Not this year. Not when a team like the Golden State Warriors exists. Because the Warriors have been to 3 straight NBA Finals. This will be their 4th. Let's be honest, they're going to win. This will be the 4th time in a row the Golden State Warriors have been to the Finals. They have 4 All-Stars. They have the best shooter ever. The best shooter ever. Steph Curry. The second best player in the league. The second best player probably in the world, Kevin Durant. They have a perennial all-star and an excellent defender, Draymond Green. They also have Klay Thompson, who's a great defender. He can shoot threes. He's an all-star year in and year out. So last night, when the Warriors beat the Rockets 119-106, my first question was, how quickly is this going to go down? How quickly are the Warriors going to take care of the Houston Rockets? How quickly will the Warriors beat the Rockets? Here's my point. If the Warriors beat the Rockets in 4 games, if the Warriors sweep the Rockets, it's going to make LeBron James look better. See, the reason is, whenever LeBron James and Michael Jordan are compared to each other, I always hear about, Michael Jordan's competition was so much greater than LeBron's. Michael Jordan played all these legendary players. Michael Jordan never had to play the Golden State Warriors. Michael Jordan never faced a team with 4 All-Stars, 2 of them being superstars, 2 of them being incredible, earth-shattering, world-famous players. Michael Jordan never played a team like that. Name a team that Michael Jordan played against that had potentially 4 Hall of Famers. You can't. You can't do it. Certainly not one that he beat anyways. Michael Jordan never played a team like the Golden State Warriors. In fact, the one team that's compared to these Warriors, the one team that everyone says could be the greatest team of all time, might be better than the Golden State Warriors, is the 95 Bulls that Jordan played on. If you remember, the 95-96 Chicago Bulls had Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Steve Kerr, and of course, Michael Jordan. And people have trashed LeBron over and over and over again. People always say, LeBron James, he had to leave to win a championship. He had to go team up with other players, and that diminishes his championship. Well, Michael Jordan just got lucky. He got drafted to the Chicago Bulls, who would go on to become a super team. The Bulls were the first super team. Of all the super teams we've ever seen in the NBA, Michael Jordan played on the first. And it seems like people are constantly changing the rules for Michael Jordan. People are always saying, here's the finish line, let's move it a little farther to make it harder on LeBron James, which is fine with me. I don't care. If you're going to be the greatest of all time, you should be able to withstand every single argument you can come up with. If LeBron James ever is truly to be the greatest basketball player of all time, you should be able to throw everything you can think of at him, and he should be like, no, I'm good. It just bounces right off him. But here is what drives me nuts about the LeBron James, Michael Jordan debate. Some people have decided that no matter what LeBron James does, he will never, ever have a chance to beat Michael Jordan. Some people have said the door is closed and it will never open. And I think that's an unhealthy way to believe. I think you should be willing to have an open mind. It's bad in politics. It's bad in every world. If no matter what someone says, I always say, you're wrong. I'm not going to have a debate. I'm not going to listen. You can't have a debate. You can't have an argument. There's nothing there. You cannot have a debate with people who say the door is closed on LeBron James. Personally, I think it's a fun conversation to have. I enjoy the debate. Now, for some people, though, If you bring up Michael Jordan versus LeBron James, if you bring that even up at all, for some people, it's like I talked about politics or like I talked about religion. Some people are just unwilling to have that conversation. They shut it down. They can't talk about it. It's like I lit them on fire. You just can't do it. And what I really notice about the Michael Jordan versus LeBron James debate is that it's really divided by generation. The older generation says Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. And the younger generation who weren't around for Michael Jordan, all of those people say LeBron James, look at the stats. LeBron James is clearly the greatest basketball player of all time. Now notice something very, very important. I have not stated my opinion. I'm not going to state my opinion until far later down the road. I'm just going to give you a lot of evidence for both sides, for Michael Jordan and for LeBron James. And eventually I'll tell you what I believe. But I want to remind you of two things before we get into this. Before we get into LeBron James versus Michael Jordan, there are two things the older generation must remember. First of all is this. Remember Be Like Mike? Remember the greatest ad campaign of all time? Michael Jordan was tied to what is probably the greatest ad campaign ever. Be Like Mike, the dance, the song, everything. It was borderline brainwashing. It was brilliant. It was amazing. But that ad campaign has been something that never, ever left people. Again, borderline brainwashed people that Michael Jordan is the greatest thing of all time. It borderline brainwashed people that Michael Jordan is somewhat of a god. The other part, so the first part is the ad campaign. The second part is nostalgia. The power of nostalgia. That is what people always think about when they remember Michael Jordan. Because everything from when we were kids, everything is always better from when we were kids. You ever go back and watch a television show you loved when you were a child? It's never quite as good. Or the other day, I was in Montana recently. And my favorite game growing up was a game called Turok. It was a first-person shooter. And I always remember how amazing this game was. You could shoot dinosaurs, you were an Indian, it was awesome. And I played it while I was in Montana last week. It sucks. I hate to say it. I still love it. But Turok is out of date. It's not good. It's got bad controls, terrible graphics. The reality is most video games in 2018 are better. In fact, especially with a first-person shooter, because back in the day, you're using one joystick. Now they've evolved, and the games are literally better. The control scheme works better now. The point is often things from our childhood we remember as great. Now, I want to point out, Ocarina of Time, Zelda, that game holds up. That game is perfect. But again, the point is, when we are nostalgic about things from our childhood, we often give those things a certain kind of power. We hold things from our childhood in a higher regard than they maybe deserve. And that, I believe, is something that's happening with Michael Jordan. Here's what's interesting about the Michael Jordan, LeBron James debate. I don't know, it's interesting or it's infuriating. It's something that bothers me. Is people say, because let's be honest, LeBron James is going to retire with better stats. LeBron James is going to retire with more points, more assists. He already has more rebounds and more assists. He's going to retire with more points, better seasons for longer. LeBron James' stats are going to blow Michael Jordan's out of the water. But the older generation often says this. The generation older than me often says, you just had to be there. You had to be there to get it. And since you weren't there, you'll never understand. I mean, obviously, I disagree. I don't like this reasoning. But I gotta point out, I was not alive when Abraham Lincoln was alive. Abraham Lincoln is the 16th president of the United States. He ended the Civil War. He freed the slaves. I know that really the truth is that when he died, the Civil War ended. But point is, I did not need to be alive to appreciate how great of a president Abraham Lincoln was. I can appreciate what Abraham Lincoln did, who Abraham Lincoln was, without being around for that. I don't need to be alive to appreciate that. And it's a silly argument to say, you know what, you weren't alive. You didn't see Michael Jordan play live on television, so you just don't get it. The argument that I had to be there, and if you weren't there, you just won't get it, that's silly and that's wrong, right? It just doesn't make any sense. I'm well aware Michael Jordan was incredible. I've watched him play. He's a more talented scorer than LeBron James. 100%. I'll give you that. He was on the Dream Team. He was in Space Jam. He was one of the first world sports icons around the world. Michael Jordan was one of the first people that you could say anywhere in the globe, oh yeah, I know who Michael Jordan is. But to say that I have no idea, to say that people, because you never saw Michael Jordan, you just can't get it, that's a very silly argument in my opinion. But to say that LeBron James could never ever pass Michael Jordan, to say that the door is closed, that's probably the more worrisome one. And the other big argument is this. So I don't like when people say you had to be there. I don't like when people say, the door is closed. There's just no argument and nothing LeBron James ever does can compare to Michael Jordan. Now, the last argument everyone makes for Michael Jordan is this. Everyone always says, we'll never forget, Michael Jordan was 6-0 in NBA championships. Michael Jordan never lost an NBA championship. And they say, well, look at LeBron. LeBron, he's been to 8. He lost 5 of them. LeBron James is only 3-5 in the NBA Finals. And that's one that, and I'll be honest too, at the end of this year, LeBron James will be 3-6. He's going to lose the finals again this year. So in the NBA Finals, LeBron James at the end of this year will be 3-6, where Michael Jordan is 6-0. Michael Jordan will have won the finals 6 times. LeBron James will have won only 3 times. But what I hate about this argument, they're like, oh, it's special because Michael Jordan never lost in the finals. No, you're right. He lost before ever reaching the finals. He didn't even take his team as far as he could have. He lost before he could. Punishing LeBron James simply because he lost in the finals is a very, very silly thing to do. Because LeBron James got farther. What do you want him to do? They're going to lose to the Warriors. So do you want LeBron James to tell his team, you know what? Because my finals record is going to take a hit and because we have no chance to beat the Warriors, screw it. We're going to stop. We're not going to try to beat the Celtics. We're going to lose in the Eastern Conference Finals so my legacy doesn't get hurt. No way. You go as far as you can until you can't anymore. And 6 times Michael Jordan did that and he won. Other times Michael Jordan did that and he lost. If you add it up, Michael Jordan was 6-7. 6 times he won a championship. 7 times he did not. See, punishing LeBron James is silly. So I did the math. Michael Jordan and LeBron James both have played at the end of this year 15 seasons each. Now, I only counted 13 of the 15 seasons because when LeBron James was a rookie and his sophomore year, he was 19 and 18, he didn't make the playoffs. So I took away 2 years from LeBron James. I also took away 2 seasons from Michael Jordan because his last 2 years, he didn't make the playoffs. He was a shell of his former self. He was 20 years older than than LeBron James. He was 38 and 39. And I said, you know what? If I'm going to take 2 years off of LeBron James' record when he didn't make the playoffs, I'll also take 2 years off of Michael Jordan's record when Michael Jordan didn't make the playoffs. So that leaves us with 13 seasons that LeBron James made the playoffs and 13 seasons that Michael Jordan made the playoffs. So after 13 seasons, Michael Jordan is 6-7. Michael Jordan won the finals 6 times. He did not win the finals 7 times. After 13 seasons, in contrast, LeBron James is 3-10. He won the finals 3 times. He did not win the finals 10 times. I don't care about losing in the finals specifically. We just have to point out you lost, whether you lost at the end of the season or you lost earlier in the semifinals or the Eastern Conference Finals. You lost. You won the championship or you didn't. I'm so sick of this argument that because Michael Jordan never lost a finals, he never lost, so he's somehow superior. That's silly and makes no sense to me. I don't get it. You either won the finals or you didn't. Do not give me the undefeated BS. That's just silly. I don't like it. I don't agree with it. So after 15 seasons, Michael Jordan won 6 championships. LeBron James won 3. But if you're going to argue about total number of championships, does that kind of diminish Michael Jordan? I think so. Because then you point to, well, Bill Russell has 11. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has 6. I mean, other people have won more championships than Michael Jordan, or the same number of championships. What makes Michael Jordan's championships quote unquote special is he never lost one. I don't know. I don't agree with that because, again, he lost before even getting there. How can you punish a guy for going as far as he can and losing when Michael Jordan didn't even make it to the finals? If Michael Jordan had been in the other conference, he would have lost to the Pistons over and over and over again. But he never had to go to the finals because he kept losing to the Pistons before even getting there. Now, I think I like Michael Jordan's 6 championships more than like Bill Russell's. Bill Russell played in a different NBA, right? That's fine, whatever. But the point is, after 13 years in the playoffs, 15 total seasons, LeBron James has 3 championships. Michael Jordan has 6. The difference is that Michael Jordan retired after 15 years. LeBron James is just going to keep on going. He's just going to keep on cranking out great year after great year after great year. And so what's more impressive to me? I don't know. What about you? I don't know. But I'll say this, that if LeBron James keeps going at the pace he's at, and he does ultimately win 6 championships, that'll do it for me. If LeBron James can somehow win 6 championships, maybe 7, maybe impossible, I don't know. But if he can, that would convince me, oh, he is the greatest player of all time, even though it took him longer. And that's why some people have decided no matter what Michael Jordan does, no matter what LeBron James does, some people have decided no matter what LeBron James does, he will never pass Michael Jordan. Even if LeBron James wins just as many championships as Michael Jordan, they'll say it took him longer and he lost finals where Michael Jordan never did. So I give up. I'm not going to try to convince anyone of anything. I'm not going to try. Some people have made up their mind, and that's fine with me. I will say LeBron James, regardless of how you feel, has played his best, has played at his peak for longer than Michael Jordan. Again, 15 years and counting, and 15 years in, LeBron James is still the best player in the world. By Michael Jordan's 15th season, he wasn't even making the playoffs. He'd played baseball, he'd retired twice, it was a mess. And don't forget, LeBron James will have more points than Michael Jordan all time. He will have more assists than Michael Jordan all time, more rebounds. And at the end of 15 seasons, this is where they end up. Because at the end of, they've now played 15 regular seasons. Michael Jordan has and LeBron James has. LeBron James has a slightly better shooting percentage, a better three-point percentage. He has 3,000 more assists than Michael Jordan. He has 2,000 more rebounds than Michael Jordan. The only category statistically that Michael Jordan has, I think he's beat him in steals, and I think Michael Jordan has more points. I know this for a fact, Michael Jordan has 32,000 points, where LeBron James only has 31,000. Only, as if, oh no, he only scored 31,000. So, to me, LeBron James not done. He's got much more to go. And the point of all this is to say that when people say, you weren't there, that's a bad argument. And when they say, he was undefeated in championships, that's also silly. So I was not there for Abraham Lincoln. I can appreciate Abraham Lincoln. And the reason why Michael Jordan being undefeated in championships is silly because he lost before he even got there. If he was in a different conference, if anything had gone differently, Michael Jordan would not have won a final. Does that make sense? He lost to the Pistons, whether he lost before or he lost in the finals, he would have lost regardless. Plus, Michael Jordan never had to play the Golden State Warriors. In fact, so LeBron James had to play the Golden State Warriors over and over again. He's lost to them many times. Michael Jordan not only had never had to play against a team as good as the Golden State Warriors, often people regard Michael Jordan's team, the 95 Bulls, as the greatest team of all time. I don't think so anymore. I think this current Warriors team is better than them. Probably last year's Warriors team is the greatest team of all time. But the point is, LeBron James has never had the greatest team of all time. Michael Jordan did. He began super teams. And we punish LeBron James for losing in the finals, and we don't punish Michael Jordan for losing before. My last anecdote, my last thing I'm going to leave you with. I know this has been a very long topic. Never forget that in 2015, when the Warriors broke Michael Jordan's record. The Golden State Warriors won 73 games. They were 73-9. They broke Michael Jordan's team's record for wins in the regular season. 3 guys, LeBron James, Kevin Love, and Kyrie Irving, beat them. LeBron James beat, statistically, the greatest regular season team of all time. So, I don't think you can disagree with that. What you can disagree with is this. The 2 greatest players of all time, I think, to ever touch a basketball. You can't disagree with this. I don't know how you could. Michael Jordan and LeBron James are the 2 greatest players ever to touch a basketball. I think that's indisputable. Whoever you put 1 and 2, I don't really care whether you think Michael Jordan's better or LeBron James is better. Can we all agree Michael Jordan and LeBron James are the 2 best basketball players ever to touch a basketball? It doesn't matter who one is. They're the 2 best ever. Now, here's what you can disagree with. If you hate me, that's fine. What I'm going to say next, maybe you hate, maybe you disagree with. I think it's an interesting debate. If I'm starting a franchise tomorrow and I have to choose Michael Jordan or LeBron James, I'm choosing LeBron James over Michael Jordan. I would rather start a franchise with LeBron James than Michael Jordan. First of all, Michael Jordan, he needed a great coach. Michael Jordan needed a great coach to win championships. He needed a great coach to say, hey, do you want to score a lot of points or do you want to win a bunch of titles? LeBron James shares the ball more. He's never had a great coach. And here's the reason, part of why my personal preference is LeBron James. Michael Jordan punched one of his teammates. You'll never see that from LeBron James. LeBron James is squeaky clean. He's lived most of his life in the spotlight, and he's been great. Michael Jordan had gambling issues, yada, yada. I would rather build my franchise around LeBron James. He's been around there longer. He's a better player for longer. I would build my franchise around LeBron James rather than Michael Jordan. However, to each their own. I hope you liked that, because I think that's an interesting debate I've been holding in for months. I haven't talked about it. I know that it's such a volatile topic. People get so angry and so heated. It's as if I talked about religion or I told them about politics. People get so offended and so angry. So I wanted to bring it up. I wanted to talk about it. I thought it was a fun, healthy debate, and I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching this video. Remember, if you like it, you can subscribe to Strong Opinion Sports on iTunes, on SoundCloud, and on YouTube. You can find the full entire hour-long podcast on YouTube. And if you really like this podcast, help me grow Strong Opinion Sports by telling your friends about the show on Facebook, on Twitter, whatever it is. Help me grow Strong Opinion Sports by telling your friends about this show.